and welcome back to the best thing you watched this week. We got Chris from Moves and Munchies. Chris, yay! And Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday. Boo! If this is your first time, thank you so much for joining us. The general reception, that's not how it works. Our format is we talk a bit of nonsense at the beginning, let you know what we talk about during the whole show, which is basically the best things we watched, ranging from movies, TV series, books, games, whatever is on our heart that we've watched that week. We're going, yeah, I really want to talk about that sort of entertainment media. That's what we talk about. In the audio exclusive bit, wherever you listen to podcasts on audio, we talk about a movie review that we generally haven't seen before, or it's been a long time. And then we talk about a little bit of the worst thing in there, as well as long as entertainment news and what we are looking forward in the coming week. And then on the same day, we release sometimes 1 or 2 videos on our Patreon, which starts at just £1, and you can get over 60 videos in there at the moment, and we're dropping a bunch this week. So there's so much going into our Patreon. If you want to support us a little bit, that really means the world to us. I know that you're already watching this, and that is support. I hope you get some entertainment out of this, maybe some informative news about what's happening in the world of entertainment, and perhaps 1 or 2 things to add onto your lists of entertainment. Maybe there's a film that you weren't too sure of, and we've helped you decide, yeah, definitely avoid that, or maybe I should have given that a go. We often have different opinions on movies and TV series, which I think is good, because we're not just sheep. We have our own opinions, and sometimes Chris is wrong, and I am always right. So,
sure, fair enough.
Without further ado, how are you doing, Chris?
I am doing well. I have had an interesting week of watching. Not so much that my stuff has been poo, but that it's been weird.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Weird's all right. It's good.
Weird is all right. It's strange, though, and it sometimes builds on itself, and so it makes it even more weird. But anyway, we'll get into that later. How have you been?
Yeah, really good. I haven't had the inclination to do much video reviews because I had the idea of maybe this week keeping it really fresh. So stuff you haven't seen on my channel yet, I'm going to be talking about stuff that's on here today for the first time.
Exclusives.
Ooh, yeah.
You heard it here first.
Exactly.
Breaking news. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So it should be good. But our movie quote quiz that we do every week.
Yes.
Did someone actually manage to get it?
They did. And I mean, just reigning supreme right now, Tara Briscoe. Whoa. For the last couple of weeks. But also we have a new entry into the winning. Also, Andre KP also came in on the same day with the right answers. So the 3 were Mad Max Fury Road, The Italian Job, and Monster.
Oh, right. Nice. Yeah.
So did you
Charlize
know
Theron.
Yeah. Yep.
Of course I knew. She's South African. So yeah.
Exactly. Yes. And a badass. So there you go. Okay. This week, you ready?
Yeah,
I got 3 more.
Let's do it.
Okay. There's a hole in the world like a great black pit, and the vermin of the world inhabit it, and its morals aren't worth what the pig could spit.
That's very poetic. I like that.
Yeah.
There's a bounce to it.
You don't want to get mixed up with a guy like me. I'm a loner, Dottie, a rebel. So long, Dot. Okay, number 3. Get your stinking hands off me, you damn dirty human.
Okay, now I think I know what the things are. Okay, cool.
Nice,
cool. Nice.
Let us know in the comments. Give us your answers to those. We will give you the shout out next week. That's the only prize you get, but hey, it's fun, right? But now, as per usual, at least for the most recent several months, Ruben has been asking us a question, sometimes existential, sometimes just depressing, and sometimes funny and ponderous. What do you have for us today?
Very topical, very relevant to what's happening in the world at the moment.
Oh, no.
And the question is, how soon is too soon?
I've seen a lot of this, and you are of course referring to the accident that happened with the sub going down to look at the Titanic and it being imploded. There's a human decency side to this, that they are people.
Yep.
But there's also then, which I've seen a lot of, and I can understand this, there's the hubris of the ultra rich. And you even have the dude who did the sub admitting that he skimped on safety precautions.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of reports well before we found out that something really, really bad happened, that it was like put together like from a do-it-yourself kit. From reporters who have been on it and journalists, and I think in today's cultural mindset, the zeitgeist, people are tired of the ultra rich doing things that only benefit them, when they could take a small percentage of their income, which would not affect them in the slightest, and make massive changes for society for the better. And yet they don't do that. We have Jeff Bezos, who goes to space in a penis-shaped rocket, along with a couple of other different billionaires. You got people going underwater and stuff like that. So I laugh. I do. I laugh at the memes that I've seen. I kind of cringe sometimes, but at the same time, no.
Okay, but there wasn't just the billionaire. It was his son as well, a pilot, and two others. So there's five in there that people
weren't they all uber rich?
Not that I know.
I mean,
of.
the son by default is uber
by
rich.
Default, yeah, but I don't think the pilot is uber rich. You'd have to be uber rich to go on it. But does being rich mean you get less sympathy? Because is it your fault that you're rich and you've done well and you've got good businesses and you're using those perks?
No, but also do you use that to benefit mankind at all? And that's not, I don't know on these people specifically. I'm just asking the question.
Does everybody else with the little bit they have?
Typically, the most generous people in the world that I've ever met are the people with nothing.
Yeah, I would say that was true.
They give out of their nothing and their want.
I understand the internet's going to internet, and there's going to be memes. And so you can't control that at all, and you can't ask them. I mean, before, like the day of, there were like 1,000 memes out about that. However, literally the day of, Channel 4 here in the UK had a documentary out on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've been planning this, right?
Yeah.
And you got to wonder, because I've watched documentaries on Netflix also where cases are ongoing, and it feels a lot of the time like they're jumping the gun, like they're just trying to be first, versus telling the complete story.
Can it actually be? Yeah.
And to call it a documentary, it's really just a news report.
Yeah, that's all it is. You've just gone, grab as much information as you can, put it together, and some sort of semblance of maybe there's some sort of coherent, but I doubt there's much of a story in there, except for the one that, people went down to see the Titanic and got imploded. Yeah.
It's not like they have any exclusive information on what actually happened, because probably
but there'll be a movie next year, probably.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Did you see that James Cameron, because of the number of times that he has visited the Titanic for filming and research and I mean him building new camera techniques and cameras themselves and stuff like that, he spent more time with the Titanic than the captain of the Titanic.
Yeah, he's been on there 33 times. He's been on the Titanic more than the captain of the Titanic was on the Titanic.
Yeah. I mean, if I were going down on in a submarine to look at this, which I think would be kind of cool and freaky all at the exact same time, I would want to go. I mean, I would step into that what at least has been described and be like, nope, got to go. I'm not. You're using a PlayStation remote or controller to pilot this. Good.
That's right.
Okay.
That was another thing, wasn't it? Hilarious.
Yeah. No, all off the shelf stuff. No, dude. Is that going to leak? Because that looks like it's just duct tape there. And I know the Navy uses duct tape, but
also
should you have welded that
in like a screen to the hull? And you're like, is that wise? Are you?
Yeah, see, I would go with James Cameron. I would because dude
for sure
has proven not only that he doesn't want to die and he doesn't have. I mean, he's arrogant. He has a ton of hubris, but he also kind of. What's the right word? Not deserves. I mean, he warrants it, I guess, because he's done it so many times, right? Yeah. I mean, if I'm going down to see the Titanic, I'm going to go with the person who's gone the most.
Yeah. Also, he had a reason to do it. He was doing a movie about the Titanic.
Exactly. Yes.
Third biggest movie of all time. We're not having a billionaire going down just to oh look, ship. Watch the Titanic, or at least the documentary that James Cameron did on the Titanic.
Yeah. Well, but think. I mean, now those billionaires, they get to be part of the Titanic. I mean,
that's true.
That's
now other people will go and see their wreckage, and it'll be really meta.
Right. Speaking of how soon is too soon.
Sorry.
Oh, goodness.
Sorry, my bad.
Oh, great question. Well, we would love to know your thoughts on this. How soon is too soon? Do you even care? Did you applaud? Because I know there's a like the generation, the Generation Z, they're pretty much fed up with these ultra rich. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, so, they were all, whoa, party time. So not everybody. I'm not saying that. That's not a broad sweeping thing. Anyway, let us know.
Yeah. Chris, I did want to ask you a question, though.
Oh, another one. Okay. Yes.
How does a computer get drunk?
I don't know.
It takes screenshots.
I love a good dad joke.
Yeah.
That's just awesome. Oh, man. Well, speaking of drunk, too, just as a plug for our Patreon again, if you want to watch us play a drinking game while watching a terrible movie that's really awesome, the movie's awesome. We have a video of that up on Patreon. So for $1, you can just see that, too. So anyway, there you go. Should we dive into the best things that we watched?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Oh, sure.
Jinx. Yeah. Double jinx. Hey. No take backsies.
You owe me a Coke. Okay, so I'll go first.
Yeah,
is that what we're agreeing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna briefly mention one, and then I'm gonna go into another one because the first one, first off has not come out yet, and two, the embargo's not really up. They've asked for us to wait until release to really talk about it. To do
reaction.
A review.
Yeah.
Reaction, yeah. So my wife and I went and saw Joyride this week.
Man, I really want to watch this. It looks great. I saw the trailer for the first time this week. Yeah. I'm not. I don't gravitate towards raunchy comedies. I mean, I'll watch them. You know what I mean? But sometimes they all kind of blend together. They just become how gross can we get, or how shocking can we become for a laugh? This one, we were laughing out loud, like through a lot of it. I mean, like genuine laughs, and then tearing up. Because it hits an emotional moment that feels real and genuine. Oh, I wasn't expecting that from that film. Okay.
Nope. And the trailer, I did see the trailer right before we went to the screening, and that's not all the funny parts. So it's good.
Oh,
I mean,
great.
It's
good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. So Anyway. Okay. The one on my list that I do want to talk about is Wes Anderson's new Asteroid City.
Okay, yeah, it's not playing near me for some reason. It's very sparse.
It has had a limited release, and this weekend it was supposed to go wide. I don't know what wide means. I mean, it opened up in my area. We didn't have any screenings around me, so I went to the theater, and honestly, when I left the theater, I wasn't exactly sure how I felt.
Interesting.
I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this was a phenomenal film. Like when I left French Dispatch, I was laughing because all these people that went to this screening of a Wes Anderson film were not Wes Anderson fans.
Yeah, that would be me.
Pissed.
Yeah, I don't. I understand the art behind Wes Anderson. I just don't get it. Like, yeah.
Well, and this movie somehow is kind of even more of a Wes Anderson movie than The French Dispatch.
It's the most Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah. And
okay.
So, I mean, you take like the symmetry, the aesthetics, the visuals of this. I mean, he knocks it out of the park every time because he's so obsessive with what he wants to have. The color palettes are kind of a, like they have a sepia tone over it, but not very much, just slightly to brown up all of the pastels and everything. It's very bright. It's very cheery from a visual standpoint, which then contrasts against the melancholy and the somewhat depressed, or at least crisis that all of the characters are experiencing. And so that mixture works really well. The story is about the unknown. How do we deal with the unknown? Can we accept that? Can we move forward with that? Some of it is looked at through the lens of grief. Like Jason Schwartzman, who is he's the central focus of this, but the story branches out much from there. I mean, he and his family. The acting is phenomenal. There's a part in it though that I didn't know about. And so it sets the stage for this movie, and which then also allows for some sight gags and some visual gags later on in the film, which was, I mean, I laughed out loud at one of them because it was executed brilliantly. But the whole presentation, like you would expect, is awkward, kind of emotionally stunted. But like I had to sit with it overnight to gather my thoughts. And the more I thought about it, the more I enjoyed it. And so when I actually sat down to do my review, by that time I loved the movie and I can't wait to see it again. But again, like that initial reaction was kind of like, it was okay. Like I'm not raving about it. I'm not hating it either. I'm just kind of not ambivalent either. I don't know. It's a little long, or it feels a little long. And I think some of that is because the patience that he employs in his shots. You know, he'll sit and lock down on a character who just sits there for a second or 5 seconds.
That's very mise-en-scene. Yeah.
Yeah, and it I mean, you can feel the time when there's a lot of those. They work to suck you into the performance, but at the same time, when you have a lot of these, it's like, okay, I'm feeling the pause. It's a lot. The movie's a lot. There's just, if you are not a Wes Anderson fan, like and I'm not talking about, oh, hey, I like Moonrise Kingdom, or I liked Isle of Dogs, or I like, his really accessible stuff.
Yeah.
This is probably not going to be for you. Just, don't even try, because what it'll do is I think it'll make you upset. I think it'll make you just like angry that you watched it, that you spent the time with it.
Okay. So it doesn't have any sci-fi-ness to it. Like even the title, Asteroid City, gives an element of that sort of nature. But is there anything like that in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But
only in a Wes Anderson way.
Well, in a very Wes Anderson way. And then you
don't want to spoil that. Okay, fine.
Yeah, because there's a framework to it that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Okay. Very interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think I might wait for streaming on this one because I've never been a huge Wes Anderson fan, and even then, those that I have seen have always been. I waited for streaming. I think like you mentioned, the accessible ones are my favorite. Like Isle of Dogs, I thought was great. Even Moonrise Kingdom, I thought was a bit slow, and I didn't like all of it. But I loved the score, and there are key moments in that I thought was awesome. And the cast, great cast.
No,
but yeah, I think it's a very eclectic. It either really you either really get it, or you're just like, why am I watching this?
You could tell that the people in the audience were Wes Anderson fans because they're laughing at all the right spots and the quirkiness of it.
So, nice. Yeah. Okay, well, this is interesting because just like you had to sit with the film, I also sat with one. I was talking to you yesterday about a film. I was like, I just don't know how I feel about this movie. Mm-hmm. But I have sat with it, and so I'm going to put it on the best thing I watched because I do think it's actually very good. It just one issue I had was that the trailers don't sell it like I think what it is selling. It isn't a massively raunchy comedy. There definitely is raunchiness in it, but it's a more hard-hitting, kind of sweet film that I wasn't expecting. Of course, I'm talking about the new film that came out this week. It's No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence, directed by Gene Stupnitsky.
I'm sure they're appreciative of that pronunciation.
Sorry, Gene Stupnitsky.
Okay. Yep. Good.
Stars Jennifer Lawrence, Andrew Barth Fieldman, and Jennifer plays a 32-year-old who gets hired to take out to date a 19-year-old, and I think that's part of where I felt awkward, and I think it embraces that as well, because if I was thinking, as a parent with a son that is 18 and a son that is 21, if I had a 32-year-old dating one of them, I don't know how I would feel about that. And so there's, like, when they're doing, like, sexual stuff together, I'm like, but that feels a little oogie. So they're it's like totally legal, 19, fine, age of consent is 16 even. So, but I think it's different because the maturity of a young person at that age, or even up to like 23, 24, is very different to a 32-year-old. If it was a 32-year-old and a 42-year-old, I'd feel differently. I'd be like, yeah, cool, do what you're going to do. But it is just love. And I'm not saying that this is love. I'm just saying love has no age limits, really. So there was that I was sat with. However, these two have a lot of growing up to do. Jennifer's character, she's a broken woman. She has a house that her mother has left to her in a place that is very upmarket, where rich holidayers go to for like their summer, and that's where she lives. And so the only thing that she got from her mom is this house, but she's like running out of money. She has like had her car taken, and she's an Uber driver, so that how's she going to make money? Yeah, exactly. And so she looks at this ad and decides that she can do this because the reward is they will give her a car if they can help their son, who's this closeted kid, because of like a sort of bullying thing that happened in another school. Only friends he has is online, and he doesn't go out. He's a 19-year-old kid that loves games, watches porn, just a normal 19-year-old kid, really, is skinny. And then she has to kind of insert her life. So they're both awkward. They're both weird. And then you're going to see them try and figure out a way to have a relationship. And it's the people who judge them because, judge her really because of their age. And him trying to come out of his shell, but she's forcing him quite quickly because she wants the car. So there's real life moments in amongst the slapstick quirkiness that we get. At one scene, there's like a whole naked scene with Jennifer, like butt naked, boobs hanging out and everything, and it just felt weird. I felt like I shouldn't be seeing that. Like, I don't have issues with nakedness on screen, but it was just like, okay. And it's very in your face. I've seen some reporters go, yeah, maybe it's too much. Like, how far is the line that you can do for a comedy like this? I was like, yeah, I don't know. I guess they were going for more real, and for a character that's broken, that doesn't give an F, she will do what she needs to survive this life, to keep the house, get what she needs. But obviously, at some point, there's going to be a real relationship there, and when that becomes real, this is a formula we've seen done before. Somebody doesn't know a big secret, and when they find out the thing that happens, it's all that kind of you know where this is going to go. There was nothing in this film that I was really surprised by.
Okay.
But that's not to say I didn't enjoy it and didn't laugh out at genuine moments or moments. I was like, yeah, that's cringe. Cringe that's awkward. I would hate that if that was me. You kind of can't help placing yourself in either of their shoes. So if you were thinking, like, if this was me dating a younger, for one, it would not be nearly as forgiving if it was a guy dating a much younger, a 19-year-old girl and a 32-year-old dude. In society now, he would be destroyed. But the other way around, I think we're still a little bit more forgiving, although very judgmental within that. So you can understand what happens there. So there are really genuine funny moments. There are other protagonists that are in this that aren't, like, they don't have huge roles, but every time they're on screen, they're really good. Matthew Broderick is one of the parents. It was so great to see him on screen again.
Nice.
She has two best friends. One's Jim, he's Scott MacArthur, who I think is brilliant. Natalie Morales, you recognize her for a number of things, yeah. And they are like her best friends, and they are kind of her moral compass, kind of keeping her on track in life, because she kind of needs that. She's that type of person. She doesn't know how to commit to a relationship, so she's got to go have one and try and commit to a relationship, which is an interesting concept. So I sat with it overnight going, that was actually good. I wouldn't mind watching that again, because I actually think it's deeper than I initially gave it credit for. It has a more real hitting. It's not what the trailers sell it is. It's not this, like, I think I was going in thinking one of those old school comedies that is kind of raunchy but stupid comedy as well. I was expecting that. It isn't that. For the first, like, half an hour, it is quite serious. There's barely any comedy, really. Like, and then once the relationship starts, that's when the kind of the slapstick or the awkwardness and the sexual stuff happens. But it really takes its time to get there, to set up a very real story. So I was thinking, like, comparing it to Silver Linings, and then also Superbad. It's very two different genres that they've gone for. I think that's why I came out of it going, I'm not sure what I needed that to be, but I guess it's its own thing now. How do you sell a comedy? Because we don't get many of these anymore. And so even just selling that must have been really difficult.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, especially with one that has such an emotional pull to it, and a deep story of, that coming of age, or that both of them trying to figure it out at the same time. I got a question though, like, how was the ad written? Like, what is the ad actually for? What is it that she's being hired for?
Oh, right, yeah.
Is it to date their son?
Yeah, it's to date their son.
So she's a sex worker.
No, she's not. That was the part of the joke. Like, when Matthew Broderickson says thank you, and she says, no, I'm not a sex worker. They're like, oh, okay. And she was also meant to be under 30, but she was kind of fudging her age.
Okay. It's still weird to me. I mean, the dad,
the dad's old school, trying to get his son laid and get a girl to take him out to parties and get drunk and do something that he's never done, because they
step out of his shell.
Yeah,
right?
Snap out of his shell.
Yeah.
But also, in today's society and day and age, I would just let him find his way. I wouldn't push him out like that.
Yeah, it feels really gross that and I have not seen it yet. I do want to see it, especially once you told me that it's deeper than just dick and butt jokes.
Yeah, it's not that at all, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. It's the new mentality of looking at content. You know what I mean? That we've been developing over the last chunk of years, that we've been maturing, or at least, saying, hey, the way we used to look at women or treat them was not okay. And so to have this, it's still
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And it's very much insinuated that she should sleep with him. That as part of the deal. It's very much part of the deal.
Yeah. So at the very least, she's an escort.
Yeah.
But then and this is me thinking out loud. Like, I want it to address the son realizing that his parents have done this for him and what that means.
That does play a big part of the movie. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Because they hit the nail on the head, and why it's not okay either. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Sweet. Cool.
All right. So what's next on your list?
So I watched a very, 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 very weird series on Prime this week. The whole thing dropped at once. It's 7 episodes. They're about 30 minutes each. Some of them are less. Some might be a few minutes more. It's called I'm a Virgo. And it's from the creator and the director named Boots Riley. And he has done... to the best of my knowledge, the only other thing that he's really done, like directed or maybe even created, he's kind of new and up and coming, but he has a specific voice and he has a specific intent. And he wrote and he directed, he may have even wrote, Sorry to Bother You. Did you ever see that movie? It's these, it's so funny because it's a black telemarketer who is then there's another black telemarketer with him, and the first dude is like, he's barely making it. He's just not succeeding at all at this, and the other black telemarketer is like top of the. I mean, he is the best that they have.
Is this Sorry to Bother You or?
Yes, yeah. Oh, Sorry to Bother You, and so he. Did you see that movie?
No.
Oh my gosh. And so the older mentor says, use your white voice. And so then he starts talking as a white voice. Oh my gosh, dude. So funny. So funny. And then halfway through the movie, it shifts and becomes a, what the F am I watching?
Oh, really? Okay.
It is, yeah. This is kind of the same thing. The premise is a child is born who grows up to be a 13-foot tall giant.
Yeah, the image I saw was like, that's a giant. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So he's been kept in his, like away from society, really, because, I mean, gawked at.
He'd become a circus freak sort of thing.
Exactly. Experimented on, chased down, never a moment's peace, all of this things, destroyed, because not only because he's just different, but now because he's also black. So now he's an ultra threat, right?
Yeah, of course.
And so there's a little bit of sci-fi in this. I mean, it's a distorted reality,
right?
But the presentation is very awkward through a lot of this, and there's conversations.
What do you mean by that?
Like, I felt weird while I was watching it because you have all of these different interactions that are going on that are social commentaries, but they don't always like take the forefront. They're just being inserted here and there. Like his parents talking to him about why he needs to stay in there, or he finally just escapes one time, and so then he's out in the world, and he has a girlfriend, and she has an ability or a strangeness to her also, and what she has to do to function in the world, what he has to do to function in the world. You have a superhero that lives in the world who is he a superhero? Is he like the force of the white guy, that he is. How does he hold people down? What is that? Is it oppression? Is it anyway? There's a section of this protest type of thing because in their community every day the power gets shut off just because the electric company would rather save the money than invest in regulators and everything else or purchase energy from other places. They, and so it's oppressing and suppressing the neighborhoods that it serves. So you have all of this. It culminates with a piercing commentary. I mean, it is. So going back to our conversation about your question about the ultra rich and all that, there is it's probably a 5 to 7 minute breakdown of a government system. Like breakdown, I mean, as in explanation. Oh. And what it does and how it affects different people groups and why it exists. And so it can be seen that it's maybe that it's skewed, maybe that it's biased. Okay, maybe. But also if you take that hat off for a moment and go, well, let me look at it from a different perspective that I don't have. Holy crap. That makes a lot of sense also. So if you walk into this with your hackles up already, then you're going to be defensive and you're not going to be able to hear the message, see the message, even take it in and examine it and then make the decision. You're just going to immediately push back on it. It is kind of like Asteroid City. Not everybody's going to like it. The main character of Cootie, that's his name. He's the 13-foot tall giant. Jarrell Jerome is the actor who plays him. And I've seen him in several things and I've loved him every single time. He is outstanding in this because he's very awkward. He embodies that awkwardness of being sheltered away. And so he also has that naivete that comes with that. But he's not stupid. He's very inquisitive. And so the questions he asks kind of have that wide-eyed view of the world like a child would have, because he's not experienced all of this, but he's had TV. So he's not so sheltered that he doesn't know what's going on, but he also then excessively reads comic books, his favorite comic book. And so that also shapes the world for him. So it's very layered. There's even a discussion on, can I be the hero by being the villain?
Interesting.
Like it's that whole, the Dark Knight. It's not the hero we want, or not the hero, whatever it is,
but that's the hero something you deserve. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. Yes. And so you have a little bit of that also in there. You gotta stick with it though. I think that's the thing, that you can't, this is not a series to tap out in the middle of, because then it's just confusing and weird.
That's why I didn't start it, because it looked really weird.
It is really weird. Yes. So you if you're going to start it, finish it out. And then if you don't like it, well, that's totally fine. And if you do, great. But at least then you have the full picture of why you do or do not like it, versus I've tapped out in the middle just because it's weird and I don't really know what's going on. Well, that's because you literally tapped out in the middle of the story. Yeah. It could continue on. I don't know if it's going to, though. So,
do you think it should?
I'd be okay if it doesn't. Like I liked kind of how it ends with not giving us, I mean, it gives us a resolution, but it doesn't, it's not the, yay, everything we wanted, we get, we're happy, we now can go on with our lives. It's kind of like we've started the process and now we've got to do the work.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. What type of person likes this? Like
me.
Yeah, other than you, Chris.
if you enjoy satire, like pointed satire though.
Okay.
If you like social commentaries, if you are into very, very offbeat humor, this draws in all of that.
So it's another Wes Anderson.
I mean, I don't think Wes Anderson fans tend to be very white.
Right.
And this is more from the black experience.
Okay.
So the quirkiness though of a Wes Anderson. Sorry, hit my microphone there for those on the audio. Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure about it. Okay, cool.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so fans of this series that I'm about to review, I'm only going to review the first 3 episodes because that is what is dropping next Thursday, June the 29th. Comes out on Max. It's an original drama. It used to be on Cinemax. And then it was bought. And then we had to wait. I think we've waited 3 years for this next season. It feels like it's that long because we didn't know if it was picked up or if it, the fans, went for it. It's from the producers of Banshee and Fast and Furious. It's a really weird mix. Okay. From the writings of martial arts legend Bruce Lee comes the hailed as the most underrated action series of the century by Inverse. This is, can you guess?
I have no idea.
It's called Warrior. Have you heard of this before?
I want to say I have.
Okay. So Shannon Lee and a bunch of other people she's taken the writings and turned it into a series. It's set in the... Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of when it's set. I don't want to get that wrong. I'm not going to say it, so I don't get it wrong.
The late 1800s?
Yeah, 1870 I want to say, but I could be wrong. In the wake of the race riots that upended Chinatown in Season 2, Mei Ling uses her government connections to consolidate power, while Ah Sham and the Hopway must find new ways to survive. Okay, so most people will be in this. Like, you would have seen incredible fighting. There's a particular character that fights like Bruce Lee. It's brilliant. Like when he's on the tips of his toes and he's doing that thing with his nose, the Bruce Lee thing where he's like, oh, there is that. But then you have like hatchet men sequences. If you've ever seen a martial art film, like the old school ones where you have like 20 guys with hatchets running at each other, you have all of that, but it's choreographed in beautiful cinematography that's so vibrant. But again, it's one of those that they allow you to see. So sometimes there's quick edits, but even in the quick edits, you get to see what they're doing or you're following it. So it's always beautiful, but it's also very, very brutal. And it's in a time when you have like the Irish workers not getting jobs. And we have, I guess they class a group of people that are taking their jobs. It's very race orientated. And then you have the rich controlling all of that. And so you have two people groups. You have all these guys in their martial arts trying to control Chinatown. And then you have these workers that are clashing all the time because they're basically just fighting to try and live. And so they're clashing. And then you have the police who aren't really, there's very few good police. They're just bobbies that'll come down and beat you and, get your take. So everybody, no matter who you are, is pretty much corrupt. It's one of those series where the enemy of your enemy is your friend, and your friend is probably your enemy. It's it's what's going to get you through today. We live for today because we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So it's very interesting, the relationships that people go through. You are always on the edge of your seat because you fall in love with characters. And for the most part, there are some characters that you think will survive because they're main protagonists. But every now and again, they just get taken out, similar to like Game of Thrones. And you're like, God damn it. Not that one. If you think some of your characters that had gone off on their own, I'm not going to say who, but basically having a new life, and just when they thought they were out again, they get pulled back into this. They pull me back in, which is heartbreaking because sometimes what their life was horrific, but escaping the sort of Chinatown life, there's brothels, alcohol, money, all of that is used by the rich and controlled with the lesser than, what they class as the lesser than. So everything that you could think of from, alcohol, money, gambling, slavery, all of that is all kind of in there, in the mix of like a really, really dirty London sort of thing. It's so entertaining. It's so incredibly well done. There's a mix of drama and martial arts. And so you have almost a soap-esque nature of the drama, of what people get up to, who's sleeping with who's killing who's breaking into whose community. Very much like Game of Thrones season 1, that sort of drama, but pretty dark. But I'm here for those sets and the martial arts sequences. Like every time I see them, I can't wait to see certain characters go up against each other, because it's going to be badass. I think at the end of season 2, we had Mark Dacarcus join. And in season 3, he's one of the new main characters. And, when 20 years ago, he was doing amazing martial art films. But recently, we've seen him start cropping up in a few films. And every time he's in a film, we're like, why aren't you doing martial arts, Mark Dacarcus? And probably because he wants to do other things. But we've seen him do some martial arts in John Wick 3, which I thought he was excellent in. This time, we're getting to see masters in their craft, allowing others to fight with them, and it's like a beautiful dance. When it's good, it's riveting to watch, because they sell every kick, and sometimes they will get kicked because that's invested in their art. That a lot of times was like, yeah, just kick me. I'm going to take it so that for that particular shot, it looks good, and that's what they do. And so they sell it. So it's so entertaining. I'm just really happy for the fans, because I know people were devastated because they really thought that wasn't Cinemax was being cancelled, and that was like one of their biggest shows. And then HBO at the time came in, and then we still had to wait like a year and a half before we even heard stuff. And now it's finally almost out. 3 on the initial release, and then it's weekly until the 10th episode.
Well, and HBO puts considerable resources behind their productions. So that is, love them or hate them, they're typically done really, really well.
Yeah, so. to quote Jurassic Park, they spared no expense.
Nice. Cool. I will have to... I guess all of them will then begin to be on Max?
I'm sure they'll be on Max, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Shirley, yeah.
Nice.
Stop calling me Shirley. Oh, wait, before you carry on.
Yes.
What do you call two AI systems that are in love with each other?
I have no clue.
Members of the chat LGBT community.
Okay. I don't know if that's offensive or not. I don't know. I'm gonna kind of recuse myself from that.
Why is beef stew a bad computer word?
I don't know.
Because it's not strong enough. It's not stroganoff.
It's not stroganoff. That is terrible. I love it. Oh, man.
So these computer jokes are literally created by
Chat
GPT. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Yeah, that yeah, I don't know. Okay, last night, my wife and I sat down. We bought tickets to see a show that was being live streamed. This is happening. It happens all over the country here in the U.S. Like it's a traveling show.
Oh.
And are you familiar with Jordan Klepper?
No.
He's a correspondent on The Daily Show. He's been there for a long time. Most recently, the reason I know of him, I haven't watched The Daily Show I've watched it barely, even when Jon Stewart was doing it. But he's been lately popping up like on YouTube, social channels, because he travels to highly, highly Republican and Trump MAGA rallies and asks them questions.
I think I've seen him on there's clips on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, he's so knowledgeable when he's asking these, and he's quick on his feet. And so it is so funny to watch him ask these questions, and these people then say something and he was like, just follow up with, they proving their own stupidity and their own just ignorance and everything else. Well, he does kind of a Daily Show type of thing. And so each week they have Jordan Klepper's Shit Show.
Okay.
And this one was in New York, in the Bronx, and they're just on a stage, and it's him, 4 other, these were writers of comedy shows or like Stephen Colbert, or Jimmy Kimmel, or, some of those. Because the writer strike is going on.
Yeah.
They had time to be there. And then one of Jordan Klepper's friends, who's a comedian, a writer also, and they so what they do is they take, literally, it's the news of the week, and then they do comedy with it. Mm-hmm. But not just to try and tell a joke. They'll be shown a clip of something, and then some of it is out of context, and so they have to say what it is. They're describing it. What do you think this is going to be, or what is this? Different things like that. It was about 90 minutes, and it was hilarious. Now because we weren't in New York, we bought tickets to just view it online, and so there was an online chat, and then the dude moderating the chat would come on and tell our things to Jordan Klepper and all them.
Oh, cool.
So so we had some interaction there, which was great. I talk about this because it's like, well, gosh, great, Chris, this happened. It was a thing, and I can't go to it. It's like you're telling me about a concert that you went to. That's stupid, and they're no longer on tour. But he does this. They're doing this in several cities. I don't know how many times they're going to do the live stream. I think this was the first time they did the live stream. It was outstanding. If you ever have the opportunity to do it, we watched it on Moment, and that's the website Moment, and the ticket was cheap. I think it was $12. 90 minutes. We cast it to the TV to watch it, and the timeliness of these things and the wittiness that they have. They do a segment where they have to defend somebody undefendable. And so, like, they took
hilarious.
What's his name? I don't remember. What is his name? It doesn't matter because he's stupid, and he heads up this Turning Point USA, and which is just a misogynistic and likely very bigoted organization. And so they played a clip of the head of this doing that, and then one of the writers had to come up and defend it.
Oh my gosh.
And so it is so funny at what he says then for as a defense, because it's all biting on defending it. It is just so. We had a great time of just laughing at and cringing at the news of the day, the news of the week.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it is rapid fire. They're all drinking as they do it, so they're getting progressively looser in how they go. There may be some of it may show up on YouTube or something like that. I don't really know. But if you ever have the opportunity to watch Jordan Klepper's Shit Show, definitely give that a go. Especially if you like timely and political humor. I think if you're a massive Trump supporter and a MAGA person, you are not going to find any comedy in this whatsoever, and it's going to be highly offensive. For everybody else who is intelligent,
so that's immediately 70 million people that won't enjoy this.
Well, depending on who you ask. It's fake news. So it is. Anyway, there you go. That's that's the last thing on my list. That's
the last thing on your list?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Cool, Chris.
What'd you watch?
So I've lived in the UK for a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some series and movies that like my friends have been telling me to watch for years, and I'm like, just really doesn't look. Yeah, I'm just not in the mood for that. It took me ages to get into Top Gear because I'm not a car guy. You know, like a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and eventually when I did watch one, I was like, this is brilliant. Okay, so there's this series that now has, as far as I'm aware, on Netflix. They've just put it here in the UK. So I don't know if you have it on Netflix in the US. You'll have to let me know. But there's a series called Taskmaster. It's a British comedian series hosted by Greg Davies, who you probably will recognize. And there's a bunch of other comedians. So the comedians use their creative brainpower to transport boulders, make a bed while holding hands, and cause a listener to blush blush with salacious whispers.
It's not on Netflix here.
Okay, you will love this, Chris. You need to find this. A bunch of comedians who are well known here in the UK. You probably recognize some of them. Get roped into what Greg Davies, basically it's his show, and he makes them do ridiculous tasks, like stupid stuff. And it's seeing them do it is hilarious. Melt a big block of ice, like one of the tasks was. Huge task. You have an hour, the quickest one to do it. And you see them trying to work out, like one is smashing it up, just like pushing it off. The other one is like putting hot water on it. An egg. Don't let this egg, or get this egg as high as you can, and the one who gets the highest wins. But you can't crack the egg. You just see them do all sorts of stupid things. It's one of the funniest British shows I've ever seen. It puts me in such a good mood.
It looks like a cross between Whose Line Is It Anyway and Practical Jokers.
Yeah, I think that's probably a very good assumption.
It's on Pluto.
Okay.
So all six seasons.
Oh my gosh!
Or
I need you to
1
watch one episode. Just watch the first episode, and then call me back and tell me why you've watched the first 2 seasons. it's so funny. Like
I see like Jen from the IT crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, oh gosh,
there's a lot of people there, but it's genuinely good vibes. And you will have you laughing. Son walked into the room. He stayed for 2 episodes. My wife walked into the room. She stayed for 2 episodes. It's just very hooky.
And it's like each episode is a standalone, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you can just bounce around in them if you want. If you see like
there's some like weird point system. One of the funny quirk things they have to do. Every one of them has to bring a thing from their home. To give to Greg Davies, to give as the prize for that particular episode. So there will be 5 prizes, and the things they bring from their home are so random and weird. But the best prize wins. So they're always trying to up each other, like on next episode. So one time someone brought a blank check, and it was like, oh, you are trading a date. Someone brought a car. It's a stupid car, ugly, old, but it's still a car. Like family heirlooms and things like that. It's hilarious. Or the ugliest jumper you've ever seen. They class it as like, it is amazing. It's so funny.
This is right up my alley as being first off British and then random.
Yeah,
and
it's gold. It's just like, why haven't I watched this already? It's like when you find the IT crowd and you're like, I'm gonna watch that. Every now and again, I'm just going to watch it all.
Always.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am so glad you told me about this. I've never even heard of this.
I'm so glad to share this news with you.
This is great. Okay. Nice.
What did the sushi say to the bee?
I don't know.
Wasabi!
Okay, that's pretty good.
All right. Next on my list, because you apparently don't have any more, is I went and saw a new Pixar film, Elemental.
Uh-huh.
It comes out here like next couple of weeks. It's out. I think they did this sneaky marketing thing. Is it out there for you already?
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't even come out till the 7th of July here.
What?
Yeah, and they were doing a sneaky market thing where a whole bunch of cinemas around the UK were like, this is a secret cinema thing. And basically what they did is they got people to come and watch it and then get their impressions of the movie.
Sure.
Clever, I get it. And then people will talk about it word of mouth. I get what you're doing, guys. We're not that dumb. Or maybe we are. I don't know. I wasn't sure about this because I looked at the trailer and I thought the animation looked generic from the trailer. I just thought like the design was like me. But when I came out of it, that was one of the things that really stood out for me. The character designs were actually very, very unique. Because I remember thinking that it looked like similar Pixar films I've seen before. Like Soul, like the little blue...
Inside Out also.
Yeah, Inside Out, all of that. Mm-hmm. It's actually very different. Like once you see it, you'll understand that the creations... But also because there are elements, that there's a whole... lived in real world of various different elements and how they get about and where they live and what makes them tick. It's a very, very Zootopia world. So it feels busy. Like as soon as you are introduced to their world, everything is realized. One of the things my son and I were talking about, well, he was talking about, so he said he'd love to see the Bible for this movie because everything must have its background story. It feels so lived in that you know there's a history behind every little bit of the city, characters that you barely see. It just feels like it's so real that you're just coming in for this bit of the story, which I think is really clever. So then you have those character designs that are fantastic. The thing that lets this movie down is the story. It's a generic story. It's done before, but what keeps your attention is that the love story that's in here feels very genuine. You are rooting for them from the beginning. You are rooting for your protagonist to choose a life for her own. It is a bit preachy. It's very much relevant for today's societal, cultural norms or what we are expecting everybody of equality to be mentioned in this way or that way. And the balance, we still haven't quite gotten that yet. So sometimes it's just going to come across as, we want to have this in our movie, and therefore our movie is about this, rather than having that theme set below it, just really nicely integrated into the movie, and then have that speak for itself. There was a moment that I thought they managed to do that really well. Like one of the family members, there was the daughter and her girlfriend, and they just kind of this is what's her name and her girlfriend. They just mention it like off the fly and leave it like there, never mentioned again. I thought that's brilliant. So inclusivity, whatever your sexual orientation is, fantastic. But then there are other times where it's all about like, see, I'm sounding like one of those. Exactly what a white bearded 40-year-old dude would say, but as a reviewer, I'm coming at this from a wider lens rather than a specific lens. You're looking at a whole, and I was thinking, love the character design, love the world building, enjoyed the story, but I knew exactly what it was doing, where it was going, when it was going. Like the beats of the story, you knew what was coming when.
Gotcha. It's
not funny. It's enjoyable.
Really?
It's an adventure.
Okay.
And there weren't moments that I was like laughing out loud. It was maybe smile and snigger. I love the animation because Pixar's animation, is awesome. It's always good.
Yeah.
Like with every movie, they're trying to improve, and with what computers can keep doing, and upscale every year. That's to be expected. I'm just wondering when's the last time they've done a really unique, fresh movie that isn't preachy, but it's just damn good. Yeah. That's just my opinion. I feel like they're doing too many. I think they need to stop, like Marvel. They need to stop, give themselves 4 years to do one Pixar film, make it an event. Because I remember when Pixar films were an event, and you went there just knowing that it was going to be knocked out of the park. Up, came out of Up with tears, but just like that was a phenomenal character-driven, real story. Talking of Up, there's a short story with Doug and the old guy at the beginning of this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Squirrel. Do you think young kids are going to enjoy this movie?
It's definitely more for young kids.
Really? Without like comedy or like, is there slapstick or anything in it?
Yeah, I don't know.
For those on the audio only, the ponderous look that Ruben has is very telling.
You might think, oh, Ruben went with his kid. Yeah, I say kid. He's 18.
Yeah.
So he enjoyed it for the same reasons I did.
As an adult.
Yeah, as an adult. And when they showed it to us, it was an odd time to do a family showing. It was midweek, 7:45.
Oh, so wow. That's
not
typically
catering to
later
a younger generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're even thinking that it's an older film. Maybe teens and that.
Strange. Okay.
I think the kids will enjoy the animation.
Yeah.
And there's adventure in it. Like there's a thing they have to do.
Movie?
I don't know.
Like 90 minutes, or is it
probably
maybe a little more than 90 minutes?
Maybe a little bit more than that.
I agree with you that Pixar has been churning out movies.
They really have.
And it's more now, way quantity over quality. That they do feel generic. They feel churned out. They don't feel like, you said it best, an event. Something that you looked forward to. And that was the same with Marvel. I'm okay with 2 Marvel movies a year because there's such a huge universe within that. But these animated stories, are you telling something new and unique? Is there a draw to it? And Up, beautiful. And Pixar has a bunch that you can point to that are very, very good. Is Monsters University? That's Pixar, right? Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Monsters?
Yeah.
And I enjoyed, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, I liked Monsters University even more than I liked Monsters, Inc. And I liked Monsters, Inc.
Interesting. Okay.
So I don't know.
It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Back to something, because I felt like I went a bit moody and grumpy there. We'll talk about something that I really enjoyed.
Okay.
But first, my ex dumped me because she said I didn't give her any privacy. Can you believe that, Chris?
No.
Wow. At least that's what it said in her diary. I'm not sure if this one's offensive.
Good.
It's just fun.
Okay.
Why can't you keep score in Afghanistan?
I don't know.
Because of the Taliban?
Okay. It's a word play. Yes.
Yeah,
yes. Okay. That's funny. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll move on. I think I do have one that is offensive. I won't do it.
Thank you.
I want to.
Yes.
I want to.
Maybe off air you can tell me.
Yeah, maybe I'll tell you off air. Okay, cool. My last thing on my list.
Yes.
This week. Next week I'll do 20. But this week is an anime series that my sons have been telling me to watch for a while, since 2021, I think. And I'm like, I don't like the cover. That looks too kiddie. It's not for me, guys. And I've been watching this like ninja anime, and I was like, yeah, it's okay. Trying to tell myself that it's actually good when it's not very good. But I'm just watching it because anime. So then I finished it, and I begrudgingly put on this anime. Anyway, that was yesterday. I'm on episode 9 now.
So it's terrible. You're not enjoying it at all.
It's so good. Emotionally gripping.
Wow.
Just punch me in the gut in episode 1. Okay, but the uniqueness of the story is also very good. It's called Ranking of Kings. There are 2 seasons. The people of the kingdom look down on the young Prince Boji, who can neither hear nor speak. They call him the useless prince while jeering at his supposed foolishness. So, Boji is the offspring of giants, except he is tiny. He's also been cursed. He has no strength of a giant, and he's really tiny. He wants to be the number 1 ranked king like his father, because in this world, they all have rankings, and the number 1 ranking gets whatever he wants. And then everybody else just kind of fights for the other rankings. He has a brother who is great at everything and flipping strong and got the power. So Boji dreams of becoming stronger. And he also has a friend that he meets in the first episode that's like this weird shadow ninja. It's a black blob with 2 eyes. Right?
I saw it in the trailer. Yes, yeah.
Which is awesome. They kind of befriend each other and become best friends. They've gone through a very hard life, both of them. Very early on, you learn that his life is very much in danger. So he goes on this mission to learn to become stronger somehow. But you can't help but love him, because the only way he communicates with people is by reading lips or people that know how to sign, because he's deaf and dumb. And this dark ninja can speak to him, can hear him, because it's a shadow blob and has different powers.
Sure.
So we just go with it, like. But there's so much hardship for this little kid that he has to go through to be able to conquer, to become strong, and you're always rooting for him. Like episode 1, I was just like, oh god damn it, this is so good. Love it. Yeah.
Are you watching it on Funimation?
I'm watching it on Crunchyroll. I'm watching it in the English dub. There are on Crunchyroll, there's at least 15 different translated languages.
Wow.
So you will, like, from Portuguese to Spanish. I saw loads on there. So,
nice. Okay.
There are 2 seasons, 23 episodes. I'm sure more is coming. Put it on your watch list.
Looking at the poster for it, I can see why you were hesitant to watch. Yeah. It's not the strongest of designs.
No, it's just like, that doesn't look good at all. And then I watched it and I was like, damn, okay, fair enough.
Nice. Right on. All right. Anything else? Nothing else? You good?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, we thank you for joining us on this. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, whichever channels you happen to be watching us on, and then visit the other one and do the exact same. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday, me, Chris, Movies and Munchies. We have our Patreon opportunity at patreon.com/thebeardedones. It is £1 to get just all of the access to, 60 plus videos in there right now.
Yeah.
More being added. And there's even a couple outside of the paywall. So if you want to just sample it first, you can do that as well. We have, as Ruben had talked about, we have an extended version of this that you're watching right now on podcast platforms. Wherever you basically happen to listen to podcasts, you just search the best thing we watched this week and we'll pop up. If you could rate and review us there also, that would be great. But we are going to be talking about entertainment news. We're going to talk about some of the upcoming releases. We're talking about the worst thing, or at least something that did not make our list this week. And we are discussing a movie, for me, first time watch. Ruben had seen it, but probably quite a while ago. It's a Norwegian film called The Wave. So we're going to be talking about that, because last week we talked about The Burning Sea, which is also a Norwegian disaster film. And so you see a theme going there. But we're going to talk about that as well. With that, though, we will see you next week. All right. Take care.